Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Good Tuesday morning. It's another beautiful one, Mary. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Now I can hear myself. Okay. A Monday on a Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I said that this morning when I left the cabin. I walked out of the cabin and the water was like a mirror. The lake just isn't that calm all that often, and when it is, boy. And the fall colors really starting to show around Lake Lida. And this is kind of early, I think, but I wonder if, about a week or two ago, we got touched by just a teeny bit of frost. And, usually that's kind of what starts the color. And I think that happened because we were out on the boat, I don't even know what day it was, Sunday probably, and out on the pontoon. And as we went around the lake, the colors are really starting to show. So typically it's not till late September, maybe even first week of October, but it's getting awfully pretty out there. Yeah, and we've had, typically a real dry year gives us not so great color. But we had so much rain throughout the summer that I think we're going to have really, really nice color this year. The oranges are really orange. They're beautiful.
That'd be kind of nice to see.
Yeah. So if you want to do a fall leaf weekend, I would say, in the next couple, I think it's all going to happen in September this year, because here we are midway through the month, and it's already pretty colorful out there.
I just hope the wind and rain that we're going to get this weekend is not going to take them all out.
I know, that would be, we're hopeful that doesn't happen. So it doesn't sound like a very nice weekend, huh?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm doing our annual, it's actually a 7K. It's a 5-mile deal. We call it the Baldwin Dash.
So they take you out in the middle of the country and drop you off.
Yep, they drop us off at the Baldwin Post Office, and we walk home, which is 5 miles. And I do it with a bunch of my cousins. And so we used to do the Bismarck Marathon, the 5K of the marathon every year. And then one year we decided, why are we paying $60 to walk together when we can do this out at your house? So that's what we do. So the Baldwin Dash was born, and it's coming up this weekend. So I won't be here, but I did look ahead at the weather near Bismarck, and it's pretty cool, and there's some rain for Friday, but Saturday looked partly cloudy and like 63 for a high. No, I take that back, 70 for a high. So not terrible at race time, and when it's our own race, it doesn't matter if we get going at 6 or 9 or 10. It just doesn't matter because it's our race.
Yep.
So we can do it however we want. So we'll wait till it warms up a little bit and then go. But Friday night doesn't look like good football weather if you've got a football game.
Yeah, we got homecoming in Fergus.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope. Cross your fingers, everybody. Yep. The weather can absolutely change between, somehow my phone is typing everything that you and I are talking about.
Oh, wow.
I know, scary.
For when they really don't want to pretend that they're not listening.
I know it. Anyway, yeah, so let's hope it changes really fast. I hope I didn't text something to you by mistake. No. Anyway, yeah, let's hope that the weather changes. It's only Tuesday. We've got a few more days for things to change just a bit. So, but anyway, I guess sooner or later, fall has to come our way. I can't believe I'm the one saying it. Okay, so a little bit later in the show, in fact, I was just talking with Miles Riker, who is one of our colleagues here and morning guy over on Real Rock Z103. And we have all these, I like to say, political conversations. He and I get caught up in these kinds of conversations. And just before going on the air this morning, he walked through the studio, and we got visiting about Charlie Kirk and the aftermath and some of the things that are going on and moving forward and all those kinds of things. And we had just a really great, quick conversation. And I said, how about you come back at 9:35 and visit with Dave and I on the air? So he's going to do that.
Oh.
So he's going to come back at 9:35.
Really?
Yeah. And we're just going to talk a little bit about, where we are now, what people are thinking, not so much on what's going on out there, but how can we go forward and, make the best of a really terrible, awful situation. And, we always ask the question when something like this happens. So now there's a coming together. There's all these vigils. Even NDSU is doing a vigil tonight. And so the most unexpected places are doing these vigils for Charlie Kirk, which I think says something. I think it says that the youth in our country saw better things, saw good things, and got to know somebody who was willing to visit with them and talk about all kinds of things and have that back and forth, not just drill and say, this is the way it's got to be, and this is what I think, and I don't care what you think. He did care what they thought. And I think it made a difference in all those places that he went and talked with all those students. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about Charlie and going forward when Miles joins us coming up at 9:35. So looking forward to that. I always enjoy talking. And this isn't really politics. This is just what's going on in our world.
Current events.
Yeah, current events and how this can be, if there's any good outcome, how, as each one of us as individuals, how can we make that outcome hang around? And how can we keep the story out there? This is a tragic story, and it's the headliner of every newscast you watch, listen to. But how long will that last? My guess is on regular broadcast media, probably not very long.
No.
But there has to be a way to make that message go forward, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about when we come back at 9:35. So, and we invite, if you've got questions or you've got comments, we invite you to text those to us.
Yep, text them. Don't call, text 321-1926.
Right. So I'm happy to read some of those texts from our listeners if they, have been thinking about this and how do we do this? How do we go forward? How can we make the best of a terrible situation and an awful thing for that family? So we're going to talk about that coming up. All right, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced yesterday that U.S. and Chinese negotiations have reached a framework agreement on TikTok's future. He said President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will speak on Friday to finalize that deal. Now, no word on
a sale or anything.
Who's going to own it, all that sort of thing. Anyway, Bessent added that the agreement is between private parties and commercial terms are settled. The deal ensures millions of Americans can keep using the app. So I don't know if it will be continued to be Chinese owned, which I guess that it will, but there will be some restraints, and it has a lot to do with trade and tariffs and all that sort of thing. So that will be interesting to see how that goes. They will be meeting on Friday. President Trump has again threatened to assume control of Washington, D.C.'s police force. His warning comes after Mayor Muriel Bowser refused to let local officers assist ICE agents. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
In a Truth Social post, Trump wrote that he would declare a national emergency and he would federalize police if needed. Bowser responded that immigration enforcement is not part of the Metropolitan Police Department's duties. Well, if it has to do with getting criminals out to prevent crime, maybe on some level it is their duty. I don't know. Anyway, that's happening. The DOJ has filed a lawsuit against Uber, accusing the company of refusing rides to passengers with service dogs or mobility devices such as wheelchairs. The suit seeks $125 million in damages for riders who reported discrimination to Uber or federal officials. In 2022, Uber settled with the government over similar violations involving wait times fees. So we'll see how that goes. And it's funny, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories on my headlines page, President Trump's name appears in all 5.
Wow.
President Trump announced that 3 people were killed in a second U.S. strike on an alleged Venezuelan drug boat. You've probably already seen the footage of that today. He said U.S. forces carried out the operation in international waters against what he called extraordinarily violent drug trafficking cartels, and narco-terrorists is the new buzzword. Trump wrote on social media that the group was transporting narcotics toward the United States, and he just plain old blew up the boat. President Trump said Monday that U.S. public companies should stop filing quarterly earnings reports and switch to a 6-month schedule. The Securities and Exchange Commission, which has required quarterly reports since 1970, would need to approve that change, and Wall Street investors rely heavily on quarterly earnings to measure company performance and all that sort of thing.
I think that's something that probably needs to
Well,
stay.
don't you think? I mean, we really do operate on quarterly everything. I mean, people pay taxes quarterly. People, buy advertising on first, second, third, fourth quarter. They do a lot of things by quarters. I think a 6-month look might be too long in between.
And it does keep everything kind of above the table. So like if you got a company that's starting to flounder, it's like, okay, we can get the investments, we can turn things around. Right. But if it's 6 months, it's like, well, we're at the bottom of the ocean. What?
Right. Exactly. All right. There is new research out there, and I've long said this whole Ozempic craze, you know, that's going on. There's new research out there that shows 52% of patients prescribed the weight loss drug, or actually that's not what it is, but it causes them to lose weight.
Diabetes drug.
Yeah, that they stop the medication after 1 year. The study tracked over 77,000 patients from 2022 to 2023. Drop rates increased over time, and a number of reasons for that. First of all, the level of dropping off, they say, is concerning because these medications aren't meant to be a temporary quick fix. You have to keep taking them in order to see those results. Anyway, for them to work effectively, they say they need to be taken long term, which long term in pharmaceutical language is forever, I'm guessing. Anyway, and I think people are stopping it for a number of reasons. I think we're seeing some medical fallout from it. I don't know what the long-term effects of something like that is. But the expense, for one, I think is what's causing people to start it. They lose the weight and think, ugh, I don't have $1,000 a month for this anymore. So until that becomes more affordable, I think that's one of the reasons. And
quite honestly, they probably hit their weight goal.
But it won't last long, no. I can tell you that. I know some people who have done exactly that, lost a lot of weight in a very short time, which never is very easy to keep off. And the problem is when it's as easy as taking a drug to lose the weight.
You don't put any effort in.
Right, and you haven't learned anything about the way that you eat and all that sort of thing. So anyway, it's kind of you're sort of stuck once you start is kind of the deal. So until they can make the cost of that drug come down. And there's all kinds of knockoff drugs out there.
Yeah.
And I would caution people, about taking advantage of those kinds of things. You kind of never know where they're coming from. You don't know if it's a tablet that's full of sawdust or it could be something concerning. And then if you are taking other medications, you don't know what this medication is. You don't know how that's going to, work with the medications that you're currently on. It's pretty scary. So involve your doctor before you take any of these kinds of medication, or any medication for that matter. And Robert Redford passed away.
Yeah.
Age 89. I wonder, and I suppose I could look it up here quickly, but he has been in so many movies, and he wrote and directed so many movies. He would just, I mean, it would be tough to pick a favorite with Robert Redford in it. But anyway, he was pretty active acting until just recently, I think. So, yeah. So we lost a great actor. Yep. I didn't hear, what the end, what took his life at the end. But anyway, he has passed away at the age of 89. So, all right, we're going to talk a little bit more about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And I think from maybe just a little bit different perspective, not necessarily about his death and how it happened and who the shooter is and all that kind of technical stuff, but more about how do we make Charlie's message go forward and what you can do. So we'll talk about that coming up at 9:35.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Local farmers. Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company in Fergus Falls currently has open slots and accepting animals. They take the hassle out of processing and butchering your livestock. From custom cuts to expert butchering, they handle it all with care and precision. Serving Fergus Falls of the Lakes area, they're proud to support local farmers like you. Call or visit Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company today to schedule your meat processing. Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company, where quality meets tradition, on Highway 210 East.
Keeping you company out on the lakes, the Minnesota Twins, and News Talk 1250 AM KBRF.
Hey, it's Chris Atterbury. Big win for the Twins last night as they blanked the Yankees 7-0, and now they try to do it again. Zebby Matthews gets the ball. He'll be opposed by talented young right-hander Cam Schlittler. It should be a whole lot of fun. We're on the air at 6. Danny and I have your call at 6:40 of the first pitch. Hope you'll join us right here on your home for Twins baseball.
News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Injured or ill and unsure about work? Minnesota Retain offers free expert help to get you back to work safely. Visit mnretain.com or call 507-284-4537. The contents of this ad were developed under Grant H421F240147 from the U.S. Department of Education. The department does not mandate or prescribe practices, models, or any other activities described or discussed in this ad. Paid for by Minnesota Retain. Aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
A shed can be more than just storage. It can be a game changer for any backyard. Imagine a space that's tough, reliable, and ready for whatever you throw at it, all while looking great outdoors. Whether it's tools, toys, or a quiet corner to escape to, this shed has it covered. And right now, it's available at half the price. Don't miss out on this rare chance to upgrade your space for less. Check it out today at FergusFallsDeals.com.
At FergusFallsDeals.com.
This is Craig Olson. Join me every Saturday morning at 8 for the Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Football, basketball, soccer, hockey, volleyball, swimming, cross country. I interview area coaches to discuss the season, recap the last game, and preview upcoming games. Catch the live show at 8 on Saturday morning on News Talk 1250 KBRF and the live stream and archived shows at KBRFradio.com. Just click on Sports Streaming. The Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your forecast from the KBRF Weather Center. Mainly clear skies today with daytime highs approaching 83. Winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tonight, lows level off around 62. Partly cloudy skies. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Highs level off around 77. Cloudy skies expected. Currently 68.
Find out why the markets are moving. Get in-depth ag information with the Red River Farm Network on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Dickerman with a market update on the Red River Farm Network. Grain markets trading higher this morning. Total Farm Marketing's John Heinberg says there's some good money flow back into the grains.
Wheat's been higher 3 days in a row. Believe it or not, we haven't done that since June. So kind of telling you where that wheat market's been. Got a little reversal action on Thursday, some follow through Friday as well as yesterday. Maybe we're at a point there, the seasonal kind of turn in that wheat market from now till about mid-October. Be nice to see some price movement there for producers in that wheat market. Not a whole lot of news going on there. It's just, again, maybe it's just cheap enough and that wheat prices can find some value. I think that's helping out the corn market as well today. Now, the corn market, obviously, we're still responding to kind of figuring things out after the USDA report. You know, the base numbers weren't friendly, but we had a nice positive reaction on the anticipation that yield and that crop size is going to continue to get smaller. Harvest is now kicking in, 7% done, so we'll have to kind of see here. I think this market's got a chance to push out into that mid 430, 440 window.
Cattle markets are lower.
Cattle market continues to be volatile and extremely choppy. Almost tough day on Friday. We snapped it back here yesterday. Now we're today back, giving some profit back. So we're in a consolidation pattern right now. If you look at the charts in the last 4 or 5 days here, just kind of trading a range, closing the week one way or another, maybe very key here in terms of where this cattle market wants to go. Long term, though, still friendly to this market. The supplies are still going to stay tight.
Total Farm Marketing's John Heinberg. Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 164 points right now at 45,719. Reporting agriculture's business, this is the Red River Farm Network.
In a world hungry for growth and possibilities,
there is a name that stands above the rest.
Proceed, a trusted name in agricultural excellence.
For generations, we've been providing farmers with the seeds that ignite their success. From seeds to success stories, Proceed is there every step of the way. Contact your local Proceed rep today.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net.
At Channel, we always show up for our farmers.
Is that tar spot or rust?
Incoming!
Definitely rust.
Rick, how did you?
Dropping in to check on your crop, Bill. Let's call your agronomist before that rust can hurt your yield.
That sounds great, but when did you learn to skydive?
Self-taught, Bill. Kind of a prodigy.
From personalized insights to year-round support, Channel Seed Pros always show up. Visit channel.com to learn more. Channel, all in, all season. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Early mornings, late nights, rain, snow, sunshine. It's the rhythm of the day for the American farmer and rancher. We get it. The Red River Farm Network is here to help you make informed decisions for your farm. We're proud to deliver farm news, markets, and weather to the innovators and decision makers. Trust Don Wick, Tyler Donaldson, Jamie Dickerman, and Drew Lerner, delivering the information that impacts your bottom line. We're the Red River Farm Network, and we're reporting agriculture's business.
Imagine this. You gather a stadium full of farmers, step up to the podium, and tell them about your business. What would that be worth to you and your company? This is Don Wick from the Red River Farm Network. We fill that stadium every day with some of the most progressive-minded, forward-thinking farmers and ranchers around the world. Find out how the Red River Farm Network can carry your message to farmers and ranchers. We're the Red River Farm Network, and we're reporting agriculture's business.
Minneapolis wheat December is up 2 3/4, down 5.74 1/2. We have December Chicago up 7 cents, 5.32. December KC up 6 1/4, 5.20 1/4. Deese corn is up 4 3/4 at 4.28. March corn up 4 1/4, 4.45 1/4. November soybeans up 4 1/4, 10.47. The March up 4 3/4, 10.81 1/4. October live cattle down 95 cents, 233.65. The September feeders, October feeders rather, down 12 at 354.40. And October lean hogs right now are up 67 at 98.20. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Today on Hot Talk with the Ox, right away, will we hear how Charlie Kirk's accused assassin pleads in his first court appearance? At 3:06, hear what happened at Monday's first meeting of the Senate's Gun Violence Prevention Working Group. And is the governor running again or calling a special session? At 4:06, hear what wine Jeff has picked out on the West Side Liquor Wine Line. And then hear fellow Ox listeners' wines of the week. See you for Hot Talk with the Ox today from 2 to 5 on KBRF.
What's the Ox say?
This is Craig Olson. Join me every Saturday morning at 8 for the Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Football, basketball, soccer, hockey, volleyball, swimming, cross country. I interview area coaches to discuss the season, recap the last game, and preview upcoming games. Catch the live show at 8 on Saturday morning on News Talk 1250 KBRF and the live stream and archived shows at KBRFradio.com. Just click on Sports Streaming. The Coaches Show, presented by the Viking Cafe.
This is Ryan Welly with the Fergus Falls Monument Company. When you're thinking about a memorial for your loved one, I invite you to stop in and see our large selection of memorials on display. The memorial you choose is crafted for you right here locally with an everlasting warranty. That means it's perfect, now and forever, guaranteed. Call or stop into Fergus Falls Monument or visit us online at foreverstonememorials.com. Memorials that matter.
News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. We're on our way up to a sunny 83, and then a little bit of showers and thunderstorms off and on for the rest of the week. Right now, fair skies 70. Morning Talk brought to you this morning and every morning by our friends at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Falls Monument. And Mary, we got Miles in with us.
We do. He was walking through this morning, as he does some mornings, and we got to visiting, and I always enjoy kind of, hashing it over with Miles about what's going on politically and across our country. And I know you and I talked, last Thursday morning when everything was so new about Charlie Kirk. And I think we both, we just really felt this heaviness. And I think that's kind of been the feeling kind of ever since.
It was a shock. I mean, I had a chat with my brother yesterday, and he lives down in Kansas, and he actually got together with some of his family members and had a chat with it, because we all kind of looked up to Charlie, even from my brother, who's older than me, down to I think his grandchildren. Mm-hmm. Some of them were really hurt and upset over the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
And you bring up a great point. It doesn't really matter what the age. It was interesting. I stopped at my house the other day, and one of my grandsons was there, and he is a senior in high school. So he's 17, going to be 18 here soon. And he said, "Grandma, we need to talk about the Charlie Kirk deal." And he said it was really interesting in school today. We talked a lot about it, and to sit down and have this really deep conversation with a kid who is 17 years old and felt so strongly about what Charlie Kirk was doing across our country and around the world.
Right, I couldn't agree more. I actually had Charlie subscribe to his YouTube channel, so I was getting all of his stuff, and when I went home the other day, and all of a sudden all this stuff started coming up on YouTube, and it's like, what the heck is going on? And then I heard the news, and it was a very sad day. And I got what's the Utah senator's name again?
Cox.
I mean the governor.
Oh, the governor?
Governor Cox, is
Isn't
that who it is?
Name?
He has been putting out a very, very positive message after all of this, saying that there's been no further acts of violence in that area, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having to deal with a situation like that, and then if people were even continuing to cause violence after that, that would make this even more difficult, and we can't do that.
Right. But and we're seeing really quite the opposite happening. Not only are we not seeing continued violence, but we are seeing the coming together of people who we wouldn't expect to come together in places we wouldn't expect. College campuses, number one, and, and some of those college campuses we would never expect, for people to gather. But not only across the country, but around the world, vigils being held everywhere. I know I wanted to draw attention, because this one's close by, if that's something that you wanted to do, 7:30 tonight at the field on NDSU campus. They're going to have a vigil tonight, 7:30. So just a reminder, I know that there's going to be a lot of people. And what I love to see is a lot of students, but of course it's going to be more than students.
Right. Now, on the other hand, there are some people on the extreme left that are making this very difficult. And here's just a perfect example of that. Do you know who Nancy Mace is?
I've heard of her. I don't know too much about her, but...
Nancy Mace moved forward. House Republican Nancy Mace moves to remove Ilhan Omar from committee after Kirk assassination remarks that Ilhan Omar said.
She basically said he had it coming. I'm paraphrasing here, of course. But will that happen?
I don't know, but you know what? That comments like that are disgusting. She should not have the position that she has if she's going to move forward with stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, then of course, the argument comes into play. When is it free speech, and when has it gone too far? And who draws that line?
Well, there have been hundreds of people that have been fired from their jobs. So I'm not a lawyer, but it all goes back to, if you are employed by someone and your employer says the comments that you are making are not the standard of this company, then you can no longer work here.
Right. And that's happening everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It goes back to you have the right for free speech, you have the right to say it, but you don't have the right to be heard. And that's usually the clause that everybody uses.
Okay. Well, it's very interesting. There's a lot of fighting going on out there. But I will tell you that the extreme left, Ilhan Omar included, did not expect to see the outpouring that this country is seeing for Charlie Kirk.
Right.
And it's just cause for more panic.
Right. And I really feel, obviously it was a tragedy that he was assassinated, but the positivity of his message, I think, is going to move forward and be stronger.
Yeah, well, everybody's listening now, that's for sure.
Right.
And isn't it too bad that somebody has to lose their life in order for more people to kind of get it, kind of tune in, if you will. But what do you think about this? I heard somebody talking about assassination culture today, and I thought, oh my goodness, is that where we've come? Are we in an assassination culture? You don't like what you hear and you take them out? I mean, basically that's what happened here.
Dave, what do you think?
I don't want to think that we are actually in that kind of a culture, but I think it all goes back to everybody in this generation thinks that they're special. And it's just like, this person I don't agree with. Well, he's got to go.
You know, the other thing that I think about this generation, or where we've come today, is that even the things 10 years or 20 years ago that we couldn't have made up are happening today. And not only are they okay, but they are being celebrated. So things that you would never have stood for before, we have become desensitized to, and now it's just like, whatever, you can do whatever, you can be whoever, you can say whatever. And I think sometimes, like this young man who is the alleged shooter, clearly there's some weirdness going on there. I mean, he doesn't seem like a totally solid guy.
Right. So do you guys think this what we're going through now, as you had said, the assassination culture, do you think this is the same thing as the cancel culture? Are these the same type of people that are now moving to the extreme? Because now the cancel culture is pretty much over. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, Mary and I have always talked about how the pendulum swings each way, and
right.
I don't know. I like to think that we're not in an assassination culture. It's just hard to think of it
you
that
know,
way.
I just wish a few more people would stand up, and I don't know if what happened to Charlie Kirk is going to cause more people to stand up or cause people to back away, out of fear. I don't know how that's going to go, and I suppose it's different for every individual.
I think that there's a reason why a lot of people are not standing up, and it's because of cancel culture, because, the loudest voices, are the ones that get heard the most, and they're dangerous people that do that.
Right. I think what we have to remember is that Charlie Kirk spoke of, hearing everyone. He wanted to debate. He wanted a dialogue. He didn't just want to come to you, Miles, and say, "Listen, this is the way it is. I don't care what you think."
Right.
But he wanted to hear from you.
Don't point your finger at me.
Sorry, it was kind of fun. He's my higher up. But you know what I mean. He wanted to hear from people.
Right.
And I think that's what made him so popular and so believable.
And to top it off, he came with facts.
Right.
That's what I really liked about him the most. Like they've been saying lately, we've got the receipts.
Yeah.
He came with facts. That's what I liked about Charlie Kirk.
Okay, so as we look forward, I heard somebody say this morning, and I don't even know who it was, because I was listening and not watching, but I heard it on Fox News this morning, and they were saying, what do we do? How do we go forward? And this guy said something that really stuck with me. He said, "We all need to be Charlie." And I thought, well, that's a weird thing to say, but he went on and said, if everyone would stand up for, if you're a Charlie follower, if everyone would stand up, even to one or two people, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's my high school grandson, and have that dialogue. Talk
Right.
about the things that Charlie stood for, his faith, his family, and his love of this country. He was a patriot.
Yep.
And if we can have those conversations with even our own family, especially our own kids, and especially those kids that are about to go off to college campuses.
I found it really interesting. You know who Bill Maher is,
yeah.
right?
Oh, he has said
Right.
some interesting things to say.
So he, on his podcast the other night, he said something that really kind of hit home with me. He said one thing that he likes about the right is that they are willing to sit down and have a discussion.
Right.
He said where the people on the left are not.
Yeah.
And he said I've voted Democrat my whole life, but he said I've sat down with Charlie Kirk on many occasions, and he said I disagreed with him on a lot of things, but he always brought facts, and he was willing to talk and not get angry about it.
Right. He was something. At age 31, to know what he knew, and you know what? This just makes me so sad because it was coming up, I believe, on the 22nd of September. He was going to be on the campus of University of Minnesota.
Yep.
And about 3 weeks ago, I didn't know anything about his schedule and where he would be next. But I remember telling somebody, we need Charlie Kirk to come to the U of M and come to Minnesota and tell
Right.
these students in the state of Minnesota what's going on here, and what's good and true, and and he would have been here on the 22nd of September.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I will miss is we no longer have that voice. We can all try to carry on, but I will certainly miss his voice.
And you know, there will be another voice. It won't be Charlie Kirk. But Turning Point USA is not going to lock the doors today.
Right.
And there will be someone who, or a group of people. This effort won't stop. In fact, as you mentioned earlier, I think it's going to be stronger, more widespread. I think they're going to have multiple Charlie Kirks going across the country. I sure hope so.
Me too.
You know, as we look back on the election, I look at Joe Rogan and some of the people that he spoke to that he turned over to the right, or not even to the right, but just to common sense.
Right.
And same thing with Charlie Kirk. This outreach, I mean, boots on the ground at all these college campuses, when they were the places that least believed what he believed in.
Right.
Across the board.
Yep.
Faith on down. But he was a source to, you know, and he, like you said, he had all the facts to back it up. He had all the biblical resources to back up his faith even. And so there was just kind of no way to not believe him.
Right. And he didn't, when he did these campus visits and stuff like that, he didn't hate anyone.
No. Nope.
You know, it just, and I will miss that about him as well.
But, you know, and I think a lot of people that didn't agree with him or didn't want to like him didn't love he was very factual and it was very straightforward. You didn't have to wonder
right.
where he was. He talked to young men on these college campuses, and he talked about, go get married, get in a really, you know, find the love of your life, have children, enjoy family, be deep in your faith. And I mean, who says that on a college campus? And I think he was some psychologist or something, and sometimes when they come on, I go, oh, you know, I don't need to listen to all that. But there is something behind these young men, and I think on a lot of college campus, there's a lot of loneliness.
Oh, I'm sure.
And again, here we come back to, you can be who you want to be, you can do what you want to do, you can join whatever, you can be male, you can be female, you can be they, them, you can do whatever you want to do, and not only will you be accepted, but you're going to be celebrated. And that's why some of these young, lonely people are joining these factions, because you're being celebrated.
Exactly.
Even if there's turmoil going on within you. And I really think this Robinson kid, that was turmoil. The relationship that he was in with his roommate, not normal.
Right.
You know, but again, celebrated on college campuses around the country, so, and around the world for that matter. But anyway, I was just, as Miles and I were sitting here preparing to go on, I was taking a look at, I was trying to find the vigil information on NDSU, and as I did that, I could scroll and keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. There are vigils all over the country. It's amazing. Anyway, a vigil for Charlie Kirk will be held this evening on the North Dakota State University campus. It will take place at Churchill Field and begins at 7:30 today. So,
way to go, NDSU.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many others following suit, and that warms my heart. So I guess the message that I feel like I wanted to go forward with today was this guy saying, we all need to be a little Charlie today. And I think if nothing else, start at the dinner table with your family, especially your kids. And when I had that conversation with my senior in high school grandson, I thought, you know what? He gets this. And we need to tell more kids.
You know what I remember from the dinner table when I was a kid?
What?
Having to eat my peas.
I was just going to say, where you hide your peas, I can give you a tip. My husband hated peas, still does, and whenever they served peas, when his mom wasn't looking, he'd roll them off the plate and then he tucked them under the plate. So by the time he left the table, she didn't know, and he was out playing ball, by the time she picked up all the peas on the table.
And now today, I love peas.
You really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, John still won't eat peas. Nope,
Maybe I need to have a discussion with him.
You maybe do, but I can't get, if you put peas in anything, he is out. It was the best chicken pot pie the other day. It was so good, but it had peas.
Well, I tell you what.
Couldn't do it.
What he doesn't eat that has peas in it, you just bring it to me.
Okay, I will.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Oh, boy. Well, anyway, we're up against the clock, but thanks for joining us. It's just, I don't know, it's fun to have a different conversation, and you can have this conversation with different people, and I think every time you walk away with something new, and I hope something encouraging, if there's any amount of encouragement that we can have out of a situation like this.
Keep the positive message moving forward.
Absolutely. All right, Miles, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome,
And it was
Mary.
kind of
Thank
fun
you.
to point at you. All right, thanks for joining us. Our show today and every day is brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Monument Company. Have a great